Stuff right there, man. Band 10 years. Jesse joins us. How are you, my friend?
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes,
sir.
we can.
Okay,
Welcome
great.
to the show.
Should I have my phone turned the other way?
You can.
Is it better that way?
Yeah, it'll be it'll get rid of the black bars.
Yeah, my computer is being a turd, so I had to fight it. So, and all my nice stuff, just typical for whenever you're trying to. Hold on, here we go.
There it is.
Yeah, let me get me set up here.
There
Sorry
he is.
about the tardiness.
No, it's all good, man.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah, there we are. Cool.
All right.
What's up, guys?
Well, dude, you're obviously busy, man. Getting ready to go out and hammer the festival run, huh?
Yeah, always. Summertime's a good time to get in front of a bunch of people. So we love festival season.
Very cool. Are you a fan of festivals? I know some bands love the festivals because you reach 30,000 people at a hit. Other bands hate it because you don't reach your core fans as much as a bunch of people kind of wandering around and they might hear a song and check you out, sort of thing.
Yeah, I kind of think that we really try to embrace the opportunity to get in front of people that might not know us that well or have never heard us. So it's a great platform to try to grab new fans or even catch up with old ones that we haven't heard from in a while. And the hardcore fans their complaint is always the set list is not long enough, or
right.
It's too hot and it's hard to get a beer and a place to take a piss. But we just embrace it, man, because the festival there's such a camaraderie with all the other bands and everything, and it's just a great platform to get in front of a sea of people.
Now, see, I was a rock DJ for 12 years, and you guys came around actually. I did it from 98 till 2003 or something like that. So you guys were around for pretty much my run of doing that stuff, actually longer than that. And I love your music, love it, absolutely big fan. But I, as far as festivals go, would rather see you guys come to a venue where I can sit down and watch the band that I love and not sit through 20 other bands to see you guys.
Yeah.
That's me. I want to see the band that I've been playing for a decade or more, and I want to see you guys.
Yeah, that's the give and take, especially when it's a festival where there's these multiple days and they've got multiple stages, and they're like, you get 45 minutes at 4:30, and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, what we try to we play a different show too, so in that situation we know what it is. Everybody's hot. They've seen it might be day 2 or 3 into the festival, so we try to give them a different show. That's where I'll come out in a crazy outfit or bring a raft and crowd raft across the people, and it's just it's more gas pedal to the floor, just wide open adrenaline and energy for 45 minutes, more than like you're talking about in a more intimate setting where we get to play a full set. There's a lot more peaks and valleys, and as a band, we play a lot of heavy stuff, we play a lot of light stuff. We're all over the place. We don't have just like AC/DC or Motorhead. It's not just one sound, so it's you get more of that experience as more of a fan at our shows. So hopefully we can continue that with the people we get interested in us at the festivals. Okay, now come check us out in our long format.
Right on, man. Well, dude, let's talk about the last few years, because like every other band on the planet, you guys got derailed just like everybody else. Everybody got to sit home. Awful time for some, and then I've talked to other bands that have said that it was a good time because it gave you time, to recharge the batteries after going hard for so many years, but it also gave you a little bit of extended time to kind of write and maybe hone your craft a little bit. So where did the pandemic play out for you, and how do you look at it now looking back?
Looking back, I mean, with everyone, I think that to be on the planet during a worldwide pandemic we'll be able to tell our grandkids, because
sure.
As it was all unfolding, no one knew the severity of it. We finished recording our album in February of 2020, and then March was the shutdown. So
right.
I remember being in the studio with the producer, and Brian, our other guitar player, and our other guy had already gone home. And he's like, "Hey, my buddy lives in China and says there's a big problem happening," and we're like, "Ah, maybe it'll hopefully we don't cancel the tour," because we had a tour ready for in March. And
Right.
man, there was no way to know what was coming. So at first, we were so excited to be finished with this album and get it out and do what we normally do. So we were really bummed and heartbroken and hoping to God that this album didn't just fall off into no man's land. And we were scared of it at first. And then you start to embrace, well, here this is, and we're all just kind of adapting in the moment. And it did allow us to stay home, decompress, touch back. We're all family guys, so we all got little ones, so we were able to do that. But what really we tapped into that we never had done before was a lot of the virtual stuff. Like, we did 2 different virtual concerts, and
Right.
it was awkward. The first one was like, we tried to do a full, heavy, full plugged in live show, and I kept trying to I needed that crowd. Like, there's a moment
Sure.
where you see my reflex, put my hand out to a crowd that's not there. I'm like, man, this is so weird. But the platform of being able to reach so many people through the internet was, I mean, we had at least we had that blessing through the pandemic, because both of those virtual concerts really helped us sustain, and it also helped us hone in something we'd never done before. The second virtual concert we did, we rehearsed that, I would say, for 3 months, because
Okay.
it was an acoustic, but we rewrote all of our songs. So for a lot of our really hardcore fans, it was a great experience to give them, where in a normal environment, we would never have that much downtime to take our back catalog and completely rewrite it and change it. And it's called Deconstructed, and you can actually stream that on all the streaming platforms right now, Spotify and Apple Music and all that. But something like that would have never happened if it weren't for the pandemic. So it allowed us to kind of slow down and reflect and approach it in a different way. So it was a love and a hate all at the same time.
So what do you think about the streaming aspect of things? I know you guys, 2000s rock was some of my favorite, rock music, but the streaming, I think, has changed a lot of everything. And
Yeah.
how more difficult is it to make money doing music now when it comes to streaming, as opposed to people buying CDs? And
Yeah.
you get over 1 million plays on Spotify, but is that, do you guys have a deal with Spotify? How do you make money doing that?
They give us $12 and a ham sandwich, so No, I mean, luckily we came along before the internet was really a crazy big thing. So we can't thank our loyal fan base enough for still coming out to live shows and buying physical merchandise, whether it's clothing or skateboards or actual physical music. The streaming is great. Again, it's almost like festivals. You can reach a large platform, and hopefully you can hook a few that'll be really hardcore into you and actually come to your concerts. But I can't stress enough, as a kind of a working musician, that going out and seeing the bands you love live, that's what feeds us. That's what supports us. That's what keeps us moving. We embrace streaming like we embraced the pandemic, where it was like you adapt and you figure it out. And streaming's, it's got its reach. It has a lot of positives, but it does not pay anything like the old days. So you have to adapt to that. And we're blessed to still be touring and having a fan base like that, and just kind of, again, adjusting and adapting. And it's the attention span that's the hardest part, I think. We're used to long format, like whole albums, and it's hard. You can't put all of your content out at once, because people will binge it and throw it away. You almost have to trickle it out. You got to dangle the carrot, so.
Jesse, I've asked a bunch of different musicians this, and nobody's had an answer yet, and I'm going to guess you won't either, but maybe you do. If you guys write, let's say, 12 songs, why wouldn't you just put 4 of them out there and then 30-second samples for the other 8, and make even if the physical product was, say, $5, $5 for the whole thing, but here's 4 to give you a good idea of what we're doing. Why not go that route versus, here you go, it's done, spaghetti on the wall thing,
Yeah, I do. That's actually a great idea. But to give you the straightforward, brutal reality is, we everyone's in it to make money. We're in it to make money for survival, so we
Sure.
can keep doing it to if we can't pay our bills and feed our kids, then we have to get a day job, which takes away from being able to do this. But also, most bands are on some form of record label, and a lot of record labels are adapting just like we are in real time, where they still hope that the sales will be this way and it'll be that way, and it's adjusting to how to make people buy stuff, because when you can pay for a $15 to $20 subscription to everything, how do you get people to buy physical stuff? And that's a great idea, is to not give it all to them.
Right.
And I think what we're seeing now that is actually happening, the more like pop world did it first, but if someone puts out an album, I mean, Nothing More's a great example. We're friends with that band, and they did a
Sure.
great job of like put a song out, and not for months, like a few months before you put another one out, and you trickle it out online, and you just wait and get people, and you just kind of slow feed them. But then at the end of the day, you still have to physically have it all online. I think has a lot to do with,
Sure.
The record labels, they're going to make you put it all online. I don't know
Right.
if you could hold it precious to just physical. It seems like a good idea. I just don't know how to actually work out the logistics of that.
Well, and to your point about what Nothing More is doing as well, you're one song that doesn't connect away from being done as a band. Because you know as well as I do, put out a stinker now, and that's it. The fans are gone because they don't have the I don't know. We were raised to have passion in music, even in the, for bands that came up when you guys did in the late 90s, 2000s. People were still buying merchandise. People were still, I can remember friend after friend after friend that had like 15 Korn t-shirts and, the special Korn Adidas shoes and stuff, like we were all so into the bands. And I don't think that's there now. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there's not the connection to any physical product as much as it used to be. And, it's got to be scary for you guys that have had success, but never were, I don't know, Linkin Park, I mean, Linkin Park could get away with a bad single or a bad album. You guys got to produce every time.
Yeah. And well, I mean, that's where it does put a lot of pressure on us, but it also to really try to dig in and not just kind of run through the motion this many years. I mean, the band formed in high school, so we're 10 years is 20 years into creating music.
Right.
So it's almost like really digging deep and figuring out how to excite yourself still and create stuff that you still feel proud of. And if we can manage to find that or hang on to that, then there's such an honesty that hopefully comes through in the music that people can grab onto, versus like, okay, we had a single that did this, so we're going to make every song sound like that single to try to just catch the gimmick. And I think when you're riding on a gimmick, it's a flash in the pan. You see bands like Cotton Fire come and go, and it's a tough one in that world. So thankfully, we've been able to weather that storm of like the one-hit wonder curse and like really challenge ourselves to keep creating and making stuff that we believe in that hopefully translate to our fans. But I think the biggest difference between the past and now, if I could say anything, is patience. The patience is, how does anyone have patience? I mean, scroll, just the doom scrolling of like, if the world is on all the time, 24/7 at a click of a button, how does your brain even process where to begin to even look? So we can slow it down to back to live concerts or going out to a movie versus sitting on your couch. You know good and well, if you're sitting down to watch a movie on your couch, your phone's still around you. You're going, well, how old's that actor? And you just get sidetracked. But if you're in a theater, like ready to see Avatar with the glasses on, you're going to pause and watch it. Same as a real live concert. I think that catching that attention is very important because you make people stop their fast-paced lives, pay attention.
Good point.
Hopefully you connect there. They pick up merchandise there. And the rest of the time on social media, you got to be able to just kind of hang the carrot and keep them interested and throw the commercials out that show that you're still out there,
Do you think it has a lot to do with also the demise of regular radio where, you know, there used to be a jock there playing
Yeah, yeah.
CDs and records and used to play, you know, the music all the time. And now it's like computerized and then it goes back to the streaming stuff. Radio and rock radio especially doesn't seem to be what it used to be.
No, again, I think it comes back to people. If you think back in the day, you had television and you had radio, and those were your two formats. That was it.
Yeah.
So, and then magazines. So you could create mystique and mystery. Tool could be Tool. You know, like a band like Tool now, I don't think could have the same impact. And I think they're phenomenal, but not that super mysterious. Who are these guys? Who is Maynard? You know, like. The mystique and mystery that was created back then was because there were three avenues. You had print, you had audio, and you had visual, and that was it. And the internet just exploded all of that. So yeah, it's real tricky to figure out how to do it, and also not for us being like kind of pre-internet. It's really hard for us to do all the influencer social media stuff and not feel corny, not trying to feel like we're just selling our stuff. Oh, check this out, we got this, and like cramming it down the throats. Because I mean, you know how it is. If there could be a cure for cancer out there, you won't find it because everyone's going to say they got their version of it and flood your brain with it.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, you just kind of try to find what you honestly feel like works for you and represents you in a truthful way versus like really, unless you're just a great actor, or, you know, in that sense. A lot of it is entertainment at the end of the day, and entertainers, you know, who I am on stage and who I am off stage are quite a bit different, but there's still an honesty to I think to rock music. Not saying there isn't other formats, but rock music has a lot of diehard fans because you're talking about touchier subjects. Pop music makes people want to feel good. Country either makes one of people feel good and dance or drink their sorrows away, but like I think that rock kind of touches on an edgier emotion than the other platforms.
And there's also something to rock about musicianship, actually being able to go out there and play instruments and not be auto-tuned and all the crap that they have. I mean, it is an honest form of music, whereas I think a lot of the other stuff isn't.
Yeah. You're competing on the more commercial the platform gets, the more things are going to sound like commercials.
Good point.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Jesse, let's talk about the not only the single that you have now, I Remember. We'll get to that one in just a second, but let's go back one. Let's go back to The Optimist, which I think is maybe the best song that you guys have put out in 10 years. I love that. It's got that upbeat, right in your face sound. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that song, man.
Well, man, thank you, by the way, because the twist on the irony in the song, or it's like Fix Me, where people hear a song like Fix Me and they're like, oh, this song's about someone trying to fix themselves, and it's the opposite of that. Right. I don't need you to fix me. So The Optimist is the same thing, where like you think it's going to be an uplifting thing, and it's like, I still have an optimist left in me? So the song originally in its first demo version had way more of an alt rock, like California alt rock vibe to it. It still had the drum beat was the same. It had the same kind of BPMs or movement or tempo, but it wasn't as heavy. And it sat in demo world and with us for a while, and we're like, it's cool, but it's just not there. And for me, it was kind of disappointing because I have endless songs where I've put my heart and soul into the lyrics, and then it just didn't translate in its final version to where it ended up just being thrown back into the bag. So we started working on other songs and this and that, and I came back to Brian. I was like, man, I really think that the lyrics and melodies, because the lyrics and the melody were all the same. We didn't change that at all. But I came back, I was like, it just doesn't have enough edge, it doesn't have enough balls, it doesn't have enough in your face, but there's a message there that I think people can relate to. Brian's like, okay, let's scrap the music and keep the vocals. Okay. And he goes off by himself. And I said, well, keep the rhythm, keep the energy, keep the tempo. And he comes back and he has that na 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 na. I'm like, okay, I'm following you here. Where you going with this? And then it spawned from that. So he's one of those, Brian, I give him such credit to be able to take the vocals by themselves and do that, because I don't hear he can do that. So it was a song that was a different song that had a lot of potential, and then as musicians you get stuck, put it away for a while. That's also the pandemic kind of allowed us to do that a little bit, and learn to be patient with things instead of finish it and put it in the bag. Like, if it's not finished, put it away, come back to it. So where it is now, I'm glad you really like it, because man, it's a lot of it's one of those that plays really well live too. The energy is, that's one of our new favorite ones to play live recently.
Very good, man. Go ahead, Seth.
No, I was just going to ask you. You guys are playing Incarceration at the Ohio State Reformatory. Have you ever been a part of that festival? I mean, it's a hell of a festival. It's an old prison here in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wish you guys were coming to like Cleveland. See, this is what I mean about the festivals. I love the damn festivals; they're great. But again, look at me. I'm not going to sit there for 3 days. I'm going to die out there.
Yeah. It's a lot
I
to
want to
take
see you guys
in.
come to Cleveland and play some of the little joints that used to be around here, and play, or the
But
Rocket
you
Mortgage
guys
Fieldhouse.
can't do that, right? Am I right on saying that, Jesse?
Is there a legal obligation? Is that why you can't do it?
Yeah, so there is a radius clause, and a radius clause gives a time frame and mileage. So if we agree to do these large festivals, all the bands on those festivals cannot play within a certain time frame and a certain mileage till that festival's over. And I understand it, because if we're playing right down the street or less than an hour away, and some fans are like you and like, well, I don't want to go deal with 3 days of 2 or 3 stages just to see them for 30 or 45 minutes. I'm going to go to the other one. And I understand why the festivals do that, because they're trying to keep all those bands precious to where you're going to that. And yeah,
I get that. And I've been to many festivals over my life. Believe me, I've been to a ton of them. But I'm just saying that these people that control what you guys are doing, control it a little bit less, so that way maybe
well,
maybe it's not a year we have to wait. We maybe get a little bit easier access to these bands.
Yeah, that's the hope, is that we're just doing a handful of festivals when we do them, and hopefully we plant the seeds, play a few new songs, and go, hey, we got new stuff coming out, and we're going to be touring in a more long format tour in clubs and longer set times, hour and a half, 2 hours, stuff like that. So people, again, it's like the commercial to the movie. I feel like that the festival's a great platform, reach a lot of people quickly, say, hey, hopefully we'll be back soon, because once you're done with that festival, you can talk to promoters and stuff and work out coming back soon. So, and this, I think this is our third time. I want to say third time doing this, and it's always been a lot of fun, but they keep getting bigger and bigger, days longer, more bands, more stages. So to answer you there too, I think that lots of times with the festivals, it's definitely the energy of a young man's game. You know what I'm talking about. You're like, I just want cheaper beer, shorter bathroom lines, and a place where I don't have to be in a mosh pit for 9 hours.
Right?
So, yeah.
Let me ask you this about those, Jesse, then we'll move off of this. But is it, and I don't want you to tell me numbers or anything, but is it financially worth it to give up 3 to 6 months worth of playing? Like here in Ohio, you basically can't play Cincinnati or Cleveland in that window. Is it worth it financially for you guys to do that one festival gig versus having the ability to hit all 3 places?
Yeah, well, again, to kind of give a little credit to these festivals and these promoters, they pay us more for that reason. So you get the festivals on average pay all musicians more than a typical just club day for that reason, to hold you precious, to kind of buy your time and buy your loyalty to hang out, and because they know they're kind of not screwing you, but they're holding you captive till the thing's over in that radius for that time frame. So yeah, they compensate in a way that kind of it levels out. And the hope again is to, with the festival, you leave such a ripple effect that when you come back through in the clubs, you got a nice attendance at those things.
Cool.
I was checking out 10yearsmusic.com. That's your the website.
Yeah.
10yearsmusic.com, and it says that you guys do a virtual meet and greet. Do you guys still do that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we used to do it, of course, all through the pandemic and
Right.
stuff. We did that a ton, which was another learning curve, and it was interesting because we had to organize those things where we have kids. I have my kids like, you can't come in the studio or in this room, and wife's got to leave me alone. And we're all we all live. The band pretty much lives still in Knoxville, Tennessee, and but it can turn into a whole day of these things because you try to piggyback on back to back.
Right.
We are not the type of band to just say thanks, see ya. So we'll get into the virtual meet and greets. Make it where you can do a little more long format Q&A with your fans,
Sure.
which we actually like. It's just being able to reel it in a time frame where it's like, so we did have to put a cap on the limit of the time because we'll talk right up to the end, but just to give them what they're paying for, and we still do them, just a little more few and far between than when the pandemic was really going on.
I think that's a great idea. The other thing I liked about the website is you can actually buy shirts that fit a guy like me.
Yeah,
well, it's not just extra small, and for the skinny little rock chick, or I could buy a shirt and it actually fits me, so that's good. I appreciate that.
Well, one of our guitar players owns a screen printing business and does a lot of other bands too, so he's pretty savvy on the shirts that fit right. You pay for the quality, and you get all sizes. Like not just stick to one little, I guess, trendy thing going on with a new style or something. So we try to make decent quality because we want people to get it again.
I try to tell bands all the time, like, look, there are fat fans out there. There are guys out there that are fat and they want to wear a damn shirt. It's not just the little guys out there that can rock a 10-year shirt. It's fat people too. So I appreciate that.
Baggy's coming back. It's weird. We're back full. I see it coming back like the 90s. I'm already seeing it because I've been skateboarding for 30 years, and I've watched kids go through the skinny jeans and the super like Warped Tour emo. I mean, we lived through all that, and then now it's circling back around, and I'm like, whoa, okay, you guys are looking almost like me as a teenager right now. So I guarantee you that the whole style and trend it's baggy again.
Sure. Are you surprised that modern rock, the kind of music that you guys make, and that, there's 100 other bands that did it as well that have had success, you guys are all still pretty much out there. Not a lot of the ones that had success disappeared, unlike the 80s where all of the bands disappeared for a while and then came back. Seems like modern rock kind of, unlike any other generation, has kind of stayed the test of time for 25, 30 years now. Why do you think that is?
Man, I guess with the whole like 80s, it was, I was talking to our sound guy, tour manager one time, and he was older than me, and he loves the 80s, and I'm a 90s kid. I grew up grunge and new metal and all the 90s stuff. And so to me, I was like, well, the 80s just can come off kind of corny or campy. And he's like, no, the 80s was a party and the 90s was a hangover. And I'm like, okay. So I think maybe with the 80s, sometimes if it's a party nonstop, you kind of have to, that's not how human beings, you can't party every night.
Sure.
And then a lot of the stuff created in the 90s, I mean, you listen to anything that Chris Cornell makes, it's timeless. It's absolutely timeless. And I mean, to be part of a wave of music and creative freedom like that happened through the 90s and the early 2000s I think it's more reminiscent of like the 60s into the 70s with like Pink Floyd and Zeppelin and the Doors, where sometimes society and the culture has to be ready for that. And I don't think that the 90s would have been the 90s without the 80s. And
sure.
But I also think that a nonstop party kind of gets tiring, and with a lot of the stuff written in the 90s to now, it's a little more heartfelt. It's a little more personal, a little more one-on-one. You can just, you're not listening to it to go to a big party. You're listening to it almost as therapy.
Let's talk about the new single, I Remember. It's fantastic. I mean,
thanks.
How'd that come about?
It's funny because we'll be throwing ideas back and forth, and most of the time the melodies come first. Well, the music and then the melodies, and I'll just have a bunch of random poems and stuff. And then Brian had come up with just working lyrics, and he had, and I remember, and the words weren't even close to the same, but I liked the phrase "I remember," and kind of it sparked an idea to write into this whole idea of what it feels like to hold on to inspiration, try to hold on to what inspires you, because as you get older, it's much trickier. It's much more difficult to be inspired the way you are as a teenager or a young adult, because life, let's be honest, life can humble you and sweep you on your ass quite a few times. So the I remember is like the very first line of that song is, I remember when all I had was inspiration. Like as a kid, when you're a new musician, you want to take, the world is your oyster, you want to take it on. And then 20 years later, it's like, do I still feel that passion that I used to? And if I don't, how can I find it? How can I remember it? How can I get back there?
Right on, man. Well, I tell you what, man, I figured the best way to wrap this interview up is to play a piece of I Remember so people can hear it. Of course, they can go out to YouTube. Once we're done, they can go to YouTube and they can hear the whole thing. Real quick, where should we tell people to go if they want to find tour dates, buy merch, and all that good stuff?
Just 10yearsmusic.com pretty much has everything. We also have 10 Years Music, Instagram, all the social media stuff. Sorry, I've got my dog in the background going crazy. I have a hound dog that likes to, he's trying to tell us where to go too. But yeah. Just 10 Years Music, any platform.
Very cool.
Thanks, man.
Well, all right, man. Well, Jesse, good luck at festivals. Good luck at incarceration, and stay safe out there, brother.
Thank you so much for having us back, man.
All right,
Come
brother.
to Cleveland. I want to see you. All right.
Definitely.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
We are never what we intend or envision, only a copy of a compromised creation, always trying to find paradise and a destination. Nothing's what it seems when my dreams wake up and vanish into the air. I'm hanging on by a thread, just a memory left for dead, and gone forever, gone forever. Can I survive burning lights, blinded by the bright side that I remember? I remember. We vanish into the
Are you looking for a way to support the Seth Williams Show? Get your Seth Williams Show merchandise today. From coffee mugs to clothing and everything in between, our high-quality merch is the perfect way for you to not only support the show, but show everyone what is the greatest show going today. Just go to shop.thesethwilliamsshow.com now, shop around, and buy some great merchandise from the Seth Williams Show. Shop today.
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's, where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious, and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's flag serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.
Are you looking for a way to support the Seth Williams Show? Get your Seth Williams Show merchandise today. From coffee mugs to clothing and everything in between, our high-quality merch is the perfect way for you to not only support the show, but show everyone what is the greatest show going today. Just go to shop.thesethwilliamsshow.com now, shop around, and buy some great merchandise from the Seth Williams Show. Shop today.